You want to support Roland Martin Unfiltered? Be sure to join our Bring the Funk fan club. Every dollar that you give to us supports our daily digital show. There's only one daily digital show out here that keeps it black and keep it real as Roland Martin Unfiltered. Support the Roland Martin Unfiltered daily digital show by going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. You can make this possible. Now, a recent poll conducted by Third Way and the Joint Center for Political and Economic Studies shows that the majority of black folks are more interested in voting in the 2020 presidential election than they were in 2016. Why? Crazy-ass Donald Trump. A survey of 1,200 black voters and non-voters concluded that the motivation to remove Trump from office is the driving force for black Americans to head to the polls next November. Derek, Trump thanked black people in 2016 for not voting. He can holler Blexit, and you can have Candace running around and all the rest of them. It's some black people who realize, you know what? What the hell was I thinking sitting my ass on the sidelines in 2016, and this man is now in the Oval Office?
I saw that poll, but Politico also had a poll where it talks about there are several black people who are supporting the president. So,
well, first of all, there's several.
There's several polls out there that indicate that more blacks are supporting the president right now. So that's just one poll, and I just think right now, Roland, when you look at some of the stuff that's being put in front of us, I think people are so blinded by the hatred of Donald Trump, and so, rightfully so, that some of these policies aren't necessarily what's the best thing for African Americans. And I think a lot of people are seeing that. Hence, some of these other polls that would indicate that more black people could possibly be voting for Donald Trump in 2020.
Recently, black women hate the Republican Party more than anybody else.
Right.
Like, Republicans have said that.
Yeah.
No group hates the GOP more than black women.
Right.
What the White House is trying to do is they know that. Mm-hmm. So what they're trying to do is they're trying to target black men. Mm-hmm. Okay, a recent poll showed black men supporting Trump around 15%. The White House, their goal is to move that to 18 or 20%.
Right. Well, I want to just be clear. White people gave us Trump. We always talk about the margins and, oh, more black people have voted in this state or that state, but we ignore the 60 million white people that voted for Trump. So before we talk about black people and how we vote or who didn't vote, white people gave us Trump. But as far as black women, yes, black women are hip to the game. We are still not fooling with Trump. We did our part in 2016 to vote for Hillary Clinton, and we are absolutely not going for Trump. As far as black men, I mean, I had a conversation with a black Trump supporter on Thanksgiving. And I was like, what is happening here? So I'm not saying that it's a terrible idea. I can't say it's a terrible idea to target black men more so than black women. But I think overall, black people have enough sense to know that Trump is not good for us. But
it's issues, though, Roland. I mean,
define them.
One of the issues I point to what's going on in Virginia right now. Virginia with the sanctuary cities and towns and everything over gun control, over the gun rights right now. Well, Virginia right now elected Democrats for the General Assembly come to an end. Everything is changing. And so right now they're trying to take the guns away from these folks. Well, the folks that are coming out to fight about, yeah, it's a lot of white people, but there's a lot of black people too in Virginia right now. You can't take my guns away from me. So when you start looking at each individual state,
first of all, no one is taking guns away.
That's what.
No.
Okay.
Gun control and taking guns away.
Okay.
is not the same.
The AR-15 rifle, which these people hunt with, that is one of the guns that they're trying to take away from.
And the same AR-15 rifle, and when you look at mass shootings, is the preferred gun of mass shooters.
I'm not debating that issue with you.
Okay,
I'm debating that the issue of the Second Amendment.
AR-15 to hunt, your ass can't shoot.
I don't disagree with you on that, and that's not the issue I'm debating, though.
If there are 1,000 guns to choose from,
Shorty,
and they say we're going to ban AR-15, no, they're not banning guns.
That's not what I'm debating,
They're
Roland.
banning a gun.
I'm debating how many people are showing up right now in Virginia on this particular issue, and it ain't white or black. It's an issue. Blacks are supporting this thing right now.
So yeah, so what Governor Northam has proposed doesn't have anything to do with taking anybody's guns, all right? So this idea that somebody would take somebody's guns away is completely ridiculous.
That is not.
They're coming to the meetings typically talking, a lot of people talking about considerations for hunting. Some people are just talking about the fact that they don't want anything changed, period. They want to be able to get any firearm that they want, and they view any sort of gun-related legislation as a violation of the Second Amendment. And, you know, I'm a gun person. My father was a hunter safety instructor, and he was law enforcement, and he had guns all over the house. So the idea that that would happen is not, I think it's not something that's likely to happen.
Would you agree that that's what's on it? There's a young lady right now.
I mean, no, I know. I've been to some of these meetings. My mother's from Virginia, my dad is from New York, and there's plenty of people at the meeting. That's all good. It's good, I think, anytime people express any sort of civic activism, quite frankly, even if I disagree with it a little bit. But and there's going to be a major rally in Virginia on January 20. But to get back to the Trump black voter thing, I mean, I don't care how many flunkies you put in the background at some speech holding a sign or having a T-shirt behind Donald Trump. I don't care how much you want to talk about your polls and Politico, wherever you saw that. When that vote is taken, okay, in 365 days, a little less than 365 days in 2020, I absolutely guarantee you that African Americans will be having a over 90% turnout against this president. We've already seen the signs. Speaking of Virginia, we saw the first sign in Virginia with the wave in 2017. Then we saw it again this year in 2019. Then we saw Mr. Bashir in Kentucky, a very red state, win that. And now we're seeing, 29 Republicans retiring in the U.S. House. All the signs are there that people are sick of Donald Trump. That is likely across demographics because, of course, Kentucky is not a particularly black state. And, Virginia is only 20% black, and we're seeing these waves of Democrats get into office. So all of that would tell you that this electorate is ready to throw this guy out. The only thing left to happen, of course, is the Democrats messing it up and nominating the wrong person, which is still in play. But I think that you can see the numerical stages set. I'm not talking about polls. I'm talking about elections, people getting elected to office. So that would tell you something is up here.
Also, I think what you have is, first of all, black folks, black organizations, and also now even the Democratic Party are awake after frankly falling asleep. What happened in Wisconsin in 2016, the voter ID bill, how that impacted some 200,000 people. Not just black people, but also a lot of white folks.
Right.
Same thing would happen in Pennsylvania. I think what you're also dealing with, North Carolina. So, for instance, Obama wins North Carolina 14,000 votes in 2008. White Republicans lose a damn mind. That North Carolina had one of the highest turnouts in 2008. The white Republican North Carolina was like, oh, hell no. They put the clamps down, and then the battle has been taking place for the last decade there. The tide has shifted in a significant way with Cooper being elected governor there, Democrats controlling the state Supreme Court, and of course their rulings when it came to gerrymandering there, all those different things happening. North Carolina is going to look a lot differently in 2020 than it did, depending upon to Lawrence Bowman, who the nominee is. North Carolina, I think, is going to be a state that's back in play for the Democrats because of black turnout.
Right.
The thing here is Donald Trump, this is what he's going to do. He's going to come out and he's going to yell, First Step Act. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay, but then you're going to ask, how many people did the First Step Act actually help nationally? First, there are more than 2.3 million people who are in prisons in America. 10% of that are in federal prisons. So really, you're talking about the First Step Act maximizing to the number it will help anywhere from 4 to 6. I've heard 7,000. Not degrading, I'm saying exactly what it is. But when I look at federal judges appointed for life, many of them opposed to civil rights, opposed to those issues.
Yeah.
The Trump administration just gutting civil rights. HUD, Department of Education, Health and Human Services, all these different places. And so Trump can go, First Step Act, he's going to say, oh, black unemployment. First of all, black unemployment was at its high, around 16, 17%. After the financial crisis that took place under 8 years of Bush, Obama comes in. Black unemployment cut more than half under Obama. Black unemployment was around 6.5% when Trump came in, 5.5 now. So basically, Donald, you dropped it by a point.
But it is the lowest in history.
No, that's fine. But let me be clear. That don't happen without Obama's economic policies.
At what point does it become...
No, I just gave you the number.
Okay.
No, I just gave you the number.
Okay.
Almost 17% under Obama, and then all of a sudden, it goes down to 6.5 when he leaves.
It was terrible.
Let me say it again. Almost 17, down to 6.5 when he leaves. Trump comes in around 6.5. It's at 5.5. I'm going to give you credit for 1 point. What I'm not going to do is give you credit for 11 points. No. See, that's the deal. Trump wants us to believe that when he took over, black unemployment was around 17%. And he got it down to 5.5. No, he didn't.
He didn't, but here's the thing. I agree that if it happened on your watch, you should get the credit. Because
No, I'm giving the credit.
Yeah,
No, follow me here. Follow me here. I'm giving the credit.
I get it.
But I'm also giving you the numbers behind it. Because, see, when you say, I'm the reason why black unemployment is lowest.
Right.
No, you're not.
The bigger point, though, is that the president's crazy. And it doesn't really matter what some of these numbers are because people know the president's crazy. So you can talk all you want about stats that are very nice. I mean, I'm not criticizing that. I'm not even criticizing First Step. I thought First Step was good legislation. And that's great that it passed. And we get, we can talk about how many people it affects, but, it did pass and it's a good thing. But the problem with this president is that he's morally corrupt. He's completely, he does things that are completely outside the law. They've never cared about any of the rules that they have to follow as government officials, and they flaunt that on a daily basis. And, the fact that that's just sort of obvious and out in the air, and he thinks he can get away with that, and people aren't noticing it, to say nothing of people like Stephen Miller sitting in the White House, the president calling, you said in the interview, S-hole countries, all that. I mean, we can go on and on and on and on. So you can flash all the stats you want, but black voters are going to vote against this president. They're not going to be the only ones. You're going to have a high degree, in my view, of non-black voters that will vote against him. And I think he's going to end up out of office. I don't predict that he gets reelected. I don't know about you, but...
Well, I don't think that you could take for granted that black voter turnout is going to be sky high, because we have several suppressive tactics that are happening right now. You have the social media suppression that's happening. It's not about conversion anymore. It's just about suppressing the vote. It's about demoralizing people. Then you have the suppression at the polls. We don't know what's happening with the security of our ballot boxes. So we don't even know how secure the vote is. We don't have paper ballots. The Trump administration is making zero efforts to secure our elections. We know that there's meddling, there's interference, there's all these things that are happening. Plus, we're losing these voting battles. In Georgia, hundreds of thousands of people are being purged. So people are going to have to keep re-registering. We're going to have to keep fighting the same battles just to keep people on the ballots. So I don't think that we can just say because black people have a very, very low regard for President Trump, I don't like to call him president, y'all's President Trump, that means that he's going to be defeated. We have to make sure that we are energizing, that we are keeping black voters motivated and speaking about black issues so that we know that there is a large stake in the game.
What we already know sitting here right now is going to come down to 5 states, right? I mean, we know that it's going to be, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, Florida, North Carolina. I mean, we know that. So where the black voters are in those states is what this really is about, in my view. He barely got off. Yeah. He barely got in the first time. I mean, again,
78,000 votes.
3 million,
3 states.
3 million votes collectively against him. I mean, he sort of lucked out getting in the first time against in my view, bad candidate, Hillary Clinton. And her not being such a great candidate means that if you put somebody up there that's better, he should really lose by a lot. But
and right now, I just don't even see who's better.
Now that's the question.
Right now, who's going to beat this man?
That's
out there right now.
Stop.
Who's going to beat him right now?
First, when you say who's better, first of all,
okay, maybe that was the wrong way.
You ain't lying.
But who's going to beat him?
Who's going to beat him?
Andrew Yang.
Who's going to beat him?
Hell, Marianne Williamson is better than Trump's dumbass.
Well, everyone's polling. Everyone's polling over him.
Beat him?
Almost every candidate is voting is polling over him. But I'm not a big poll fan, I have to say. And frankly, I don't think Pete Buttigieg can beat him.
Here's the piece.
I don't think that.
Here's the piece.
I don't think half these guys can beat him.
First of all, I'm not paying attention to national polls because the presidential election isn't a national poll.
Right.
A presidential election is a state poll.
That's right.
That's what it is. So it's based upon what those states are.
Absolutely.
The real issue is this here. When it comes to Trump, and next door, of course, you got these white evangelicals who are hugely backing Trump. They're all pissed off at Christianity Today because they published an editorial calling for Trump to step down.
And they told the truth, right.
And they did. And they got upset by that, calling Trump grossly immoral and suggesting he should be removed from office. And, of course, that has ticked off all these white evangelicals. So here's what you're dealing with. The New York Times also had this story about these rabid Trump people who frankly are racist, but they call themselves patriots. Here's what's going to happen. Let me just go ahead and be clear, okay? The last election, they thought that this would be the 2016 was going to be the first election where less than 70% of all voters were going to be white. It's around 71, 72%. Here's the reality, okay? Trump's wild-eyed white folks are going to vote.
Right.
You can go back to 2016. I said on MSNBC, I was yelling it. I told Hillary's people this directly. I said everywhere I went. No poll can measure white people who have not voted.
Ever.
You can't.
Right.
You can't measure who you don't know will turn out. Trump ran up huge numbers in rural places. So if you take a huge increase in rural places, you take voter suppression in places where largely black people are, but also voter suppression targeting elderly, voter suppression targeting young whites who are more likely to vote Democrat, then you get a 78,000 vote win. Okay? That's really what happened there. Let me just be real clear here. Donald Trump is the last white hope for these people. Let's not sugarcoat this. Let's call this what it is. I have been saying since 2009, we're operating in the age of white fear. Donald Trump's immigration language, Donald Trump, all this sort of stuff is exactly what you're dealing with. These white folks, these white evangelicals, they don't care if this man was married 3 times. They don't care if he paid off a porn star. They don't care if he is a liar who lies about lying. Donald Trump is providing these white folks with exactly what they want. This white savior who's here for white people. He don't want no immigrants here. We're at our lowest levels. If they could import white folks from Denmark and Switzerland, boy, they would do it in a heartbeat. And he's actually said it.
Yeah.
Why can't we get more people from Denmark? They want white people in this country because everything is about 2043. The Republican Party is trying to lock down the federal bench because they see that train coming.
Yeah.
And that's what's going on here. And I think the Democratic candidate that knows how to articulate that, knows how to put it in an ad, knows how to make it perfectly clear the inherent danger this man is. Because let's also be clear, his love affair with Putin, that's about white folks too. Because Putin desperately wants a white society. Let's just call it what it is, okay? Stephen Miller, all these people, we know he's a racist, okay? We know this. Richard Spencer was the model, the role model for Stephen Miller when he was at Duke. Richard Spencer, the white supremacist. If a white supremacist was your role model in college, your ass, white supremacist.
Right.
We got the white woman who was from Breitbart, who said, I was a white supremacist. Stephen Miller, me and him were tight. If a white supremacist say you're white supremacist, I'ma believe the white supremacist.
Yeah.
I think.
So if Margaret Sanger was tight with Hillary Clinton, and Hillary Clinton.
One second, hold up. One second.
How do we put that together?
Hold up. Was she?
Yeah.
Who?
Margaret Sanger. Hillary Clinton has admitted that Margaret Sanger was one of her mentors.
You're trying to go through eugenics.
Was Margaret Sanger?
I'm going to eugenics. I'm just if you putting that.
No.
You associating your man with him. I'm associating Hillary Clinton with her.
Question: was Margaret Sanger working on the Hillary Clinton campaign?
No.
Was Margaret? No. 1 second. No. Let me ask you a question. No. 1 second.
Hillary Clinton talking about shithole countries.
1 second.
Was Hillary Clinton pushing abortion?
Was Hillary Clinton talking about racism and having Stephen Miller up in the White House?
Allow me to ask you a question.
Answer's no, right?
Was Hillary? Was
Margaret?
Answer's no.
Allow me to ask
The answer's no, right?
Hold up, Derek.
The answer's no. The answer's no.
Was Margaret Sanger working on the campaign of Hillary Clinton?
No.
Was Stephen Miller working on the campaign of Donald Trump?
Yes.
Is Stephen Miller right now senior advisor in the White House to Donald Trump?
Is Margaret? Are Democrats killing abortions right now? Are Democrats killing babies?
Let's talk about
yes or no.
Democrats killing babies?
Hold up. Yes or no?
Let's talk about abortion.
Democrats killing babies?
Hold up. Answer my question.
Are Democrats killing babies?
Guess who's having abortions?
Black people.
No.
Black
white
women.
people.
Okay.
Oh, no white people having abortions?
Oh, that's not what I'm saying. So y'all trying to twist my words. Y'all trying to twist my words.
No. First of all,
don't try to twist my words. Don't try to twist my words. Don't try to twist my words. Don't do that.
I first asked you a question.
Don't do that.
I first asked you a question. Is Stephen Miller working right now, senior advisor in the White House? That's a fact.
Yes.
Now, 2, are black people having abortions?
Yes, they are.
Are white folks having abortions?
Yes, they are.
Are Latinos having abortions?
Yes, they are.
Is it the law?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
And an abortion is not killing a baby.
Are you a conservative?
Okay.
Be clear.
Are you conservative?
Yeah, he is. But here's the
if you're
piece, though.
conservative, you think the government should be involved in a man or woman's decision about having a baby?
No.
Really?
Nope, I don't.
So then, what's your policy on abortion?
My policy, what I'm saying is that more black people disproportionately have abortions. That's all I'm saying.
And you think
Period.
the
And I
government
didn't say the government had they ain't got anything to do with it.
I'm just checking.
I didn't say I'm a man. I ain't got nothing to do.
Just checking.
Keep my
Just
hands off your body.
Just
That's
checking.
not what I'm saying.
All right.
But
Then why are we talking about abortion then?
But yeah,
Because Margaret Sanger and Hillary Clinton.
And Hillary Clinton is not on the ballot in
Okay,
2020.
anyway, what was your question, Roland?
No,
Senator Hillary
my
Clinton.
question was, and I was very clear in terms of what you're dealing with. And what you're dealing with right now is white fear driving these policies. The
I don't
reason
disagree
these
with you on
white
that.
conservative evangelicals are going crazy, the Franklin Grahams of the world, Robert Jeffers, when you have Tony Perkins, Ralph Reed, Jerry Falwell Jr., it's because Donald Trump is the last great white hope.
And just think, with
But
all
what
that
folks
voting,
don't realize is if Donald Trump, if he's not going to get impeached, but, Mike Pence
No,
is
stop.
around.
Let's do it factual.
He's
Let's
impeached.
do
He's
it factual.
He's not gonna get
First of all,
removed.
he got impeached.
He's not going to get removed.
Right, but here's the piece. It doesn't.
know that.
I fully understand who
We don't
Mike
know that.
Pence is,
Yeah, right.
what his background is, but guess what? It don't matter. He the same.
My point exactly.
So here's the piece.
I think he's worse.
But the election is still in November, which what we're talking about here. And what I'm saying is this here, is that if you're a Democrat, you better be willing to be real honest and say, no. Understand, this is what's going to happen. If we think that man crazy now, giving his ass 4 more years,
Oh, yeah.
where there are no repercussions.
I agree with
I
you.
actually think that the signs point to him getting thrown out. Because remember, with all the voting suppression, with all the nonsense, even with the bad candidacy of Hillary Clinton, she still got 3 million more votes than he did. So, I mean, I'm not sure that that there needs to be some sacred speech that somebody makes. I think the signs of the backlash are very obvious. We saw it in Virginia and Kentucky, and we're going to see it.
The real question is, are you going to see white women?
No, you're not.
See, that's no. Here's the
you're not. But
53%
it's
of white women voted for Trump. The latest polling we're seeing, he's polling around 42% among white women.
not to say he didn't show his craziness, but that was the Trump before we saw.
Oh, no, I understand. First of all, hashtag, we tried to tell you. We knew his ass was crazy. Okay, so all these folks who like, Chuck Todd all of a sudden now realizes Republicans were lying on his show.
Right, but now we're seeing indication that white suburban women are going to show up.
No, I understand.
And see, that's my point. Once you get outside of these metropolitan cities, i.e. Atlanta, you in Georgia. You know what I'm saying? And once you get outside of these urban cities, those are the folks that got this man elected.
But we're
those
seeing
are the folks that are gonna turn
signs
out
that's
and do
starting
it
to
again.
crumble.
No. But here's the point that you have to deal with. It's a whole right now. Trump is not polling well in Iowa.
Right.
Why? It's a whole bunch of bankrupt ass farmers.
Right.
Yeah.
It's a whole bunch. See, here's I'm telling you, this is where, now again, for all the people out there who can't stand Joe Biden, here's the reality, okay? This is, I do believe it, Reese. I think what you're seeing is, I think you got a lot of older black people who have bought into this whole idea that the only way to beat Donald Trump is to put another old white guy who can make white folks feel comfortable.
Yeah.
The bottom line is this here. Joe Biden goes in them places and goes, y'all broke. That man in his terrorist fight caused you to lose your family farm.
Yeah.
Caused you to sit here, you on government assistance. See, the problem is this here. He's hurt a lot. Now, it's a few of them fools. I read one story, a guy who lost the family farm and said, I still vote for him.
Yeah.
You a dumbass.
Yeah.
You got to be a dumbass to lose your family farm as a result of the terror crisis and still vote for the dumbass who caused you to lose your family farm. Now, you just stupid.
This has been
But
studied.
I think.
Reese, go ahead.
But I think that a large part that's motivating a lot of Trump voters is cruelty. It's not about prosperity. It's not about having a better life for themselves. It's about making sure that other people are suffering.
It's race.
And that's why his immigration policy is such a driving factor for them. Because, hey, kids in cages kind of is a good thing for them. Our immigrants in these facilities that can't get vaccinations are like, yeah, they don't need vaccinations. There's so much cruelty that is animating these folks. And I don't know how you can necessarily appeal to them by saying, well, you're going to get a job or you're going to get better health care, when that's not really what they're looking
It's
at.
Southern strategy and it's race.
Yeah.
I mean, when you strip away the nonsense, okay, when you pull back the curtain, it comes down to they don't want to be related with the party that is related with African Americans and minority groups. That's what it comes down to. And for some reason, and you know, God bless the never Trumpers and the Republicans who said enough is enough of this, but they've been doing this since Goldwater.
Yeah.
It's the same formula over and over.
It is. Look, Derek. He is going again. If you ask the question, how is Donald Trump going to make the argument how he's been so great for black people? It's only two things he's going to mention: First Step Act and the lowest unemployment rate. That's all he's going to mention. He ain't going to mention wages. What you never hear Donald Trump talk about is black home ownership being at its lowest rate since 1968 with the Fair Housing Act. You ain't gonna hear him talk about that, okay? You ain't gonna hear them talk about any of that, okay? You're gonna hear him try to talk about HBCUs, yeah, but you ain't really done jack. I mean, I can go down the line there.
Yeah.
And so there has to be, and there is, a very clear and concise counter to what he's going to say. But at the end of the day, what cannot happen in 2020 is for young black voters, and let me say this again so I'll go ahead and sit up, okay? Young voters now outnumber baby boomers. But let me be real clear.
But they don't vote.
Old folks vote. My mama and my daddy are both 72. My mama and my daddy work the polls in every election. My mama and my daddy gonna vote.
You made a point.
I keep telling all y'all young people.
Yep. They don't vote.
Tweets don't mean shit.
Right.
Voting does. I'm gonna tell y'all again the story that Congressman Jesse Jackson Jr. told me. A group of young voters went to him and said, if you don't do this, we're gonna throw you out. Jesse Jr. said, y'all can kiss my ass. He said, you see that tile right there? He said, that is a residence home for old people. You know who's gonna put me back in office? All them old black women there. That's who gonna vote. If young people, if y'all say y'all care about climate change, and y'all care about the environment, and y'all can't stand racism, and y'all can't stand sexism, you're gonna have to get off your ass, mobilize each other, and vote. Derek, Donald Trump has no shot if young folks vote their numbers.
Agreed.
Like, no shot.
Agreed.
But it's also much easier to suppress the young vote because of social media, and people are very dismissive about this. But these certain, memes and these things permeate. I mean, how many times do we hear super predators from about Hillary Clinton? And so we haven't seen a lot of the Oppo research against the Democrats. I've seen quite a bit of it, and it can be very devastating. And the stuff that's out there about Trump is already known. So I think we have to really be careful about the fact that it's not about conversion anymore. It's not even about turnout as much as it is. It's much easier to suppress that. And so if people take that for granted, then they're going to be in for a shock come 2020.
First of all, you're not going to get conversion. I mean, first of all, this whole idea you're going to flip Republicans, that's a waste of your time. It's easier. Look, for black people, what this is going to be, this is going to have to be, and let me be real clear, black people got to fund this. I talked about gentrification. I talked about everything else. Look, black folks can't wait for some white Democrat to decide how much money we're going to spend. No. Black organizations are going to need black people to contribute in a significant way to fund black turnout initiatives. No, just being straight up. That's what it's going to take. Because no, it can't happen.
You're saying black organizations need to fund.
Hold on, wait. Follow me here. This is what I mean. Black organizations who are on the ground know where the black people are. Look, I was in Ghana with Desmond Meade. Desmond broke down Amendment 4. He broke down how they mobilize folks. He said, with little or no money. He said, going into places where other folks don't want to go into, to mobilize folks. What has to happen is you got to send folk who know other folk, who trust other folk. What you can't have are these white Democrats sitting their ass in D.C., paying off a fellow white person whose organization to handle grassroots organization, when really their definition of grassroots is a white kid with an iPad and a damn iPhone trying to go into neighborhoods that they don't know and they scared of.
Yeah.
No.
Robbie Mook.
Yes. The only way this is going to happen, and this is going to require, again, black folks to self-fund the National Coalition of Black. I'm telling you, you can't. Look, you can't sit around. No. See, first of all,
Barack Obama got into office.
You can't use Obama.
Why can't I use Obama?
No, you can't use.
Right.
No. You can't use Obama.
People.
No,
black
you
people show up.
No.
They
You
show
can't.
up.
The reason you
Why
cannot
can't you
use
use
Obama
Obama?
for no, you can't. Don't even
There's
bring
no
Obama
Obama
up.
in this race.
It proves you can do it
No,
without
don't
that.
even bring Obama up.
He's black, though.
Obama was an aberration. Obama was not elected because of an infrastructure.
If you're waiting for DNC to
No,
follow what
you just I just told you. I ain't waiting on DNC. I ain't waiting on DCCC.
But their money. You
Well,
need
you have
No.
organizations like
money.
Collective PAC that do that kind of
obviously.
stuff.
Right, but what I'm-
Black
what
Voters
I'm-
Matter
PAC
and
and
stuff
Collective
No, but what I'm saying is this here. Collective PAC, National Coalition of Black Civil Participation, and
Higher
others.
Heights.
Higher Heights.
Yeah.
They are going to need black dollars.
Yeah.
And what I'm saying is this here, because these black organizations will be waiting on white dollars. What I'm talking about is come January 1.
Yeah.
You're going to need these folks, putting folks on the ground, not waiting for somebody, and here it is, April, May, June, July, August. No, you're going to have to go into black areas early, and you're going to be talking to people, holding forums, holding town halls, and it might be 10 people or 12 people or 20 people, but that's what it's actually going to take. It's not going to happen if you're waiting on somebody white in D.C.
Right.
to wait till August or September to say, here's 200,000. No. So what I'm saying is, don't wait.
I can tell you right now, the money didn't come from black people. But the RNC, they have got a ground game right now. They're using black folks, and I think that's why you're seeing this difference in these numbers. They political.
What ground game?
The
What
RNC,
black people?
The RNC got people on the ground, Roland. Trust me.
Where?
Okay, well.
No, I'm asking where.
They have teams of people across this country, Roland. They're spending money to do it.
No.
I deal with
know the
someone
money
who
they're
is
spending,
the
but what I'm
director of
saying-
African American Engagement, Camilla Prince, and I know for a fact that they got people on the ground right now. They've done training sessions, etc., to get people out, and they're doing it already. Hence the numbers that you're seeing with these polls in some of these publications, i.e., Politico, that came out yesterday.
Yeah, okay.
I think black
talking
people,
about
we
black
have
voters
to
for
we
Trump.
have to write our own ticket in terms of this next election.
Hold on. Go ahead.
We have to write our own ticket. So that does mean supporting black organizations that are doing that, putting our political capital, putting our political dollars into organizations that will cater to us, that will also help get black people into elected office, help get black people through the primaries, help get them to the general election, which will also increase our motivation and our enthusiasm for 2020. So we can't just make it all about beating Trump. We have to try to get black people up and down.
We got to make it about beating Trump.
And the issues.
But it's not
It has to be about the
mutually
issues.
It's not mutually exclusive. Because
Actually, in fairness, there was a black participation Trump thing that Paris Denard did in Richmond a few weeks ago. He sent me a thing.
Right.
And I got to just check in to see how many people were there.
Okay.
I don't know yet.
All right.
That was where
I'm just
when
saying.
Camilla was at.
I don't know.
Yeah, down there.
Okay, Obama is here. Defeating Trump is tied to issues. See, all these people who think black folks just want to see Trump gone, there's a reason why.
Exactly.
It ain't like because, what the hell, you gotta go. No, there's a reason why. These white media outlets ain't gonna break down the reason why. Black folks remember shithole nations. Black folks remember good people on both sides when it comes to Charlottesville.
Right.
Black people know how he constantly attacks black women like Frederica Wilson, how he attacks the IQ of Congresswoman Maxine Waters, how he attacks black White House correspondents like April Ryan and Abby Phillips and others. Oh, it's real clear how he talks to black people. Now, he might have his favorite Negro, okay, who can pull out and go say, hey, here you go, but we know the real deal. And what I'm saying is there are clear issues, but you can hit him on, he has no answer for.
Right.
None. No answer. The question is how you put it together. But I still say 2 takeaways before we go, and this is real simple. Young black voters, your ass got to vote.
They ain't going to.
2, let me be real clear to young voters. Let me as real as I possibly can. Let me as raw as I can. I'm sick of this bullshit from y'all where you need somebody to excite you. Let me be real clear, okay? To young voters, cut the bullshit about I need somebody to excite me. Let me excite your ass in another way. If Donald Trump gets 4 more years, he likely will end up appointing half of all federal judges in America.
Right now.
And they are going to be there for the next 50 years. Now, let me just break that down. If your young ass is 20 years old right now, that means that a lot of Trump's judges will be there when you are 70. Does that get your ass excited? Let me excite you further. Donald Trump gave a $2 trillion tax cut to the rich. Guess what? Check about to be due. Here's what's going to happen. Democrats might take back the Senate. Guess what all of a sudden is going to happen? Austerity. Cuts. What do we cut? You name it. Programs you like, gone. Them federal judges going to rule against climate change left and right. All y'all young folks say, I want somebody to excite me. Your student loan debt, that'll get your ass excited. So what do you want to do? You have Betsy DeVos over here who ran afoul of a federal judge's ruling when it came to companies who kept collecting on a debt when a judge told not to. Damn, they held them in contempt. Don't vote, her ass still gonna be there. Ben Carson, don't vote, his ass still housing secretary. He don't know what the hell he doing. All I'm saying is this here. If you are young and you're waiting for somebody to tickle your fancy and ignite your soul, your ass is crazy. You are nuts. You better understand there's power in that ballot. So you need to be organizing your classmates and your cousins, and if you gotta sit their ass down and play this video and educate them, fine. But I'm telling you, if young people stop making excuses, and I ain't saying just young black people, I'm saying these young white voters, where they are moving polling locations from populous campuses to far out places like the woman did in Wisconsin in 2012. That's all I'm saying. But if you're one of them people and you know somebody in your family who is saying, man, I ain't gonna vote, cuss their ass out, then educate them. That's all I'm saying. Maybe you don't want to cuss them out. I would, but that's all I'm saying. It has to happen. Because I'm telling you, Donald Trump is evil. If you think this man was mean and nasty and lying for the last 3 years, imagine if his ass win twice with no repercussions after that. That's America I don't want to see. All right, folks, back to our Roland Unfiltered video in just one moment. All right, folks, as the marijuana momentum continues, our folk, the friends at marijuanastock.org, have already reached more than half their funding goal for the hemp CBD investment. That's right. If you want to take advantage of this great opportunity, you need to do so now because it won't last much longer. And now we're talking about the hemp plant, the good cousin of the marijuana with a much higher concentration of CBD. That means hemp gives you all the medical benefits of marijuana without getting you high. Also, if you don't know, hemp farming is now legal in the United States, creating one of the largest commodities worldwide. Now, it's an investment opportunity, and that's where the folks at 420 Real Estate come in. Their business model is simple. They buy land that supports hemp CBD grow operations and lease it to licensed high-paying tenants. That's right, they're hemp CBD landlords, and you can get in on the action. All you gotta do is do this here, folks. Go to the crowdfunding campaign. You can invest as little as $200 up to $10,000. To invest, go to marijuanastock.org. It's marijuanastock.org. Get in the game and get in the game now. Now back to your Roland Martin Unfiltered video.